Shane Van Gisbergen completes his first trip in the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Michigan International Speedway and finishes in 17th position. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, Shane Van Gisbergen has completed his first trip to Michigan International Speedway, his first race ever at Michigan, and finishes in a solid 17th position. At the start of the race, Shane Van Gisbergen would start in 23rd position, but early in the run, he started fading back quite a bit, fell as far back as around 29th or 30th position. But as the early run went on, he started getting up to speed, and by the end of stage number 1, he had moved by lap 15 or 16. He had gone from about 30th to 31st position all the way up inside the top 25 and started making a few passes. Then by the first caution for Taylor Gray, when he spun to the inside, he moved up to around 22nd or 20th position and started moving around that top 20 area. He would actually decide to come down pit road in the middle of stage number 1, trying to find a way to make it to the end of stage 2, because at the time, we thought that there was going to be rain. So we all thought there was a chance and an opportunity. He was going to stay out along with the guys that came down pit road, which were about 10 guys. Well, he decided, well, everyone else would basically have to come down pit road to try to make it on field as well. On the next restart, chaos would ensue once again. I think another caution would come out for another driver spinning, and he moved up and actually faded back to around 29th to 30th. But then once again, he started moving forward. It started making up a ton of positions and a lot of ground. And by the end of stage number 1, Shane would come off the corner and be around 20th to 21st, around that top 20 area. At the start of stage number 2, after a couple guys came down pit road, I believe AJ Allmendinger came down, I believe John Nemechek came down, and a couple other drivers came down pit road. They would restart around 21st to 22nd position on that restart. And then they started, and he started working on that outside. He was one of the few drivers, what he was trying to do was trying to run the outside line, going up to try to diamond the corner and get a really huge run. And he actually really started working for Shane. He started picking off one car. He started picking off 2 cars. Then he had a couple big incidents and wrecks that happened. He first had a spin from Austin Hill, who spun in the grass after he kind of came down on Carson Quaffle. And then, of course, he did have another crash where Riley Hertz came up the racetrack in front of multiple drivers, including Ryan Sieg, Sam Mayer. Those guys, unfortunately, fell out of the race, and that moved Shane up inside the top 15. It really actually moved him up to around 10th position because he was making that outside line work and got up to around 11th to 12th position when that caution came out. On the next restart, he actually once again started moving forward to around 10th position. But then, unfortunately, near the end of stage number 2, he started fading back. Actually got up as far as 5th or 6th, but then he started fading back because his car got better than the other cars. Some of those guys had fresher tires than him, and he started fading back quite a bit to around 15th as he come off the corner about 15th and be there at the end of stage number 2. Then he came down pit road along with the rest of the drivers, and basically he would be restarting around 21st to 22nd position. And then there was another big wreck because he had a bad pit stop, was restarting around 21st, 22nd. He almost got caught up in a big incident wreck between Loss Allen, his teammate Daniel Dye, and Jeb Burton. Luckily for SVG, he was able to find a way through that crash and was able to get through and moved up a couple positions around 20th. Then we got back racing once again. He actually came down pit road, but this is where his chances of maybe getting a top 10 or top 15 at the time really came to an end. On the restart, Shane tried to make a move to the inside of Joey Gase, and unfortunately, you can't do that before the line. He got a penalty for changing lanes before the restart. It was very questionable, looked really, really close to me, but it is what it is. He would have to come down pit road and serve a pass-through penalty, but luckily for him, he wasn't completely out of the race. He actually held on quite a bit once guys like Carson Quaffle and Justin Allgaier got him. He actually hung on with those guys and was able to stay the first car 1 lap down. And then with 9 laps to go, Shane would get a lucky break. Kyle Weatherman hit the outside wall very, very hard. Thank God Kyle was okay after the incident. It was a very scary crash and incident. Luckily got out of the car. But this would put Shane back on the lead lap. And on that restart, after a 25 to 26 minute red flag, after we got to the restart, Shane would restart 28th, but he started moving forward very, very quickly. We knew that number 97 car had top 10 to top 15 pace in the early portion of the event, and he started making up a ton of ground. It moved up to around 20th position, coming to the white flag. And then on the last lap of the race, Shane would get through the big wrecks and incident after Carson Quaffle got turned by Cesar Baccarella. Chandler Smith and Kyle C. both got collected in the wreck as well. Shane was able to get through it. The caution would come out. Justin Allgaier would come off the corner and win the race. And Shane Van Gisbergen would come off the corner and finish in 17th position at Michigan. Honestly, considering the fact that Shane got that penalty for the restart violation, he's still coming back and finishing in the top 20 is a really good day, all things considered. Every race Shane Van Gisbergen continues to get better. I go back to Indy a couple weekends ago where he finished in 4th. And you have to remember, this is the first race that he's working with a new crew chief, because remember, Bruce Schlicker had left the team for personal reasons to spend time with his family, for what his wife had said on Twitter. So Shane was working with Kevin Walter. And honestly, for the first race with new crew chief, honestly a pretty good day. It showed the 97 team has been getting a lot better. Shane continues to improve on a week-by-week basis, and even after the restart violation, which he clearly made a mistake there, he had a pretty solid bounce by gaining 11 positions on the final restart. I think had he not had that issue with the restart violation, I generally think he could have been up there contending for the win, or maybe even a top 5 or top 10 like he did in Indy. And so, unlike some of those drivers, he had about the same amount of fuel as Justin Allgaier. And he had pretty much the same speed as Allgaier and those guys, and was keeping up with them. So I really think that Shane could have gotten a much better finish today than he ended up getting. But at the same time, you've got to learn from your mistakes. And to still finish inside the top 20 is still a pretty good day, all things considered. He's got a busy weekend coming up next week, of course. Remember, he's actually going to be doing a doubleheader, because on Friday night, he's going to be running the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, of course, in the 97 car, where he got 11th last year. But remember, or last time we were, I should say, but remember, he's also running the Cup Series race in the number 16 car. I believe Wendy's is probably going to be the sponsor on that car as well. So Shane is getting, actually, no, Safety Culture, is sponsoring. So Shane is going to be doing a doubleheader. We also know that he needs as much experience as possible, completing all the laps, which he's been able to do. He needs to complete as many laps as possible, because we know at this particular point that Shane is expected to move up to the NASCAR Cup Series next year. And if he continues to perform like he's been performing for the most part this year, where he's only had 4 finishes outside the top 20, if he can just come back and continue to salvage days and run really well, that's all he needs to do. Again, we shouldn't be expecting Shane to go out there and win races on ovals. We know he's going to be really good at road courses every time he gets behind the wheel of a road course car, but we shouldn't be expecting him to go out there and win on an oval. So to finish inside the top 20 today, still a very good day for Shane. He continues to get better. He bounced back, gained a lot of positions. He improves every time he gets behind the wheel. He's got to work on the qualifying stuff. That's been the thing that's hurting him, but to qualify 23rd, he's doing a little better on that side. He needs to qualify inside the top 15 and top 10 going forward on ovals. If he can start doing that, I think Shane will have a really good chance and opportunity to be up front at a lot of these tracks going forward. But still, a top 20 is solid, all things considered. Next week for Shane will be at Daytona. He's been pretty good at the super speedways this year, not just in Xfinity, but Cup as well. I think Shane will have a very strong and solid performance. I think he's going to do really, really well. He's been the best rookie, in my opinion, this year. Jesse's had a good year. Haley D, and of course, she's no longer part of the Xfinity Series anymore. We don't know what she's doing for next year at this point. But Shane's obviously looking to next year go up against guys like Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, you name it. Carl Edwards, if everyone's come back, name it. All these guys that want to come back in the future. Carl Edwards, Chase Elliott, competing against those guys in Cup next year. He continues to improve. Will be teammates most likely with Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez next year. Did a very good job today. Congrats on a solid performance. He finished 17th. Good day for Shane, all things considered. So, that is going to be it for today's episode on the Shane Van Gisbergen Michigan Report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links goes below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. How do you think Shane Van Gisbergen performed today at Michigan? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have the starting lineup video for the Firekeepers Casino 400, and if the NASCAR Cup Series race does, in fact, end up happening, we'll discuss it here live on the channel. If not, we'll likely discuss it on Monday, and we'll probably have a news video dropping on Tuesday as well. Got a ton of great content dropping over the course of the next couple weeks that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.